I'm Katie Heiso, and this is my REMC portfolio of my blended classroom. Blending my teaching has really helped me be able to work one-on-one with my struggling students while they're actually in class instead of trying to get them come before or after school. It also allows me to see which of my kids are excelling, and I can differentiate instruction so that they're not bored while other kids may be struggling. It also allows me to stay in contact with kids if they are stuck on a problem or have a question. They can post it online and other kids will respond or I'll respond, and it just makes it more feasible where they don't have to get stuck on something and wait till the next day to bring it in and ask questions. I really like the blended classroom because it takes me from being the end all be all and puts it in their hands, and they're creating their own knowledge, which is making them understand the chemistry topics that I'm teaching them in much greater detail. So a few things that I've done to blend my classroom. One is clickers. I just learned about this at the end of this REMC class, so I'm still going into the detail that I understand it in or use it in class. But I have done a quick poll and the kids love it. I love it because it gives the immediate feedback and they can see right away if they got something right or wrong. And so those kids that think, yeah, I know this, but then when they get asked a question about it, they don't know it, to help them determine what they need to study and maybe even come in for extra help. Another way I've blended my class is I use an Edmodo site. So here is my Edmodo site for my chemistry kids. The homepage of it is a post section where the kids can post questions and other kids can respond. I can respond to it. There's multiple posts a day. They'll post even about other classes. They'll include pictures and that sort of thing. So that's really awesome. I can post polls on here, and if you go all the way to the bottom, there is a poll about the class t-shirt where they all responded to it. There's a calendar feature which I really like, and they'll click on the calendar and it'll show that there's a bonding test this upcoming Thursday. It also tells them what's coming up soon. They can include things on their calendar for other classes to try and keep them organized, and it's all in one place. Luckily, all three of us that teach ninth grade in my program are all using Edmodo, so the kids have one thing that they're logging into. There's a folder section for each unit where they can print off worksheets if they need to. I put up some PowerPoint notes, but I also use a flipped classroom model for each unit. So here is the lecture for bonding. I use my iPad to record these lectures, and I use either Show Me or EduCreations. I like both of them. I'll go back and forth. It doesn't matter to the kids because they just see the screen no matter what it is. So they'll get the lecture, they will take notes on it, and they can play it. Attractive force between atoms or ions that bond them together. And there's a little echo, but that does not normally happen. It's just because of the recording thing that we're using right now. So I do use those types of things. The other thing I used my flipped classroom for, my iPad, I can show simulations. PHET, P-H-E-T, is a really great computer simulation site where all kinds of chemistry, physics, biology topics that we can't really do feasibly in a high school classroom. You can do simulations with those things to give those kids a visual. I really started utilizing Google Drive this year, so I've made, at the very beginning of the year, I did an introductory survey where I posted this, and that was their first assignment, was to go home and answer these questions. And the nice part about it is it sends it to me in this nice Excel spreadsheet, so I was able to go through and find kids that didn't have internet access all the time, so I could talk to those kids specifically and make sure that they would still be able to complete the blended parts of my class. So I really like using the Google Forms. I was also able, with Drive, they put together as a class presentation. So here's just one thing that we did, and each of these were done by different groups of kids, and they stood up in the class and presented about their part of the atom And what happened at the end is they had this really nice presentation with pictures and videos and websites that they got information from, and they could utilize this for studying for their tests. So I also made the other groups available. Another thing with Google, I went into Google Plus and I started to use Google Hangout. So Google Hangout is this really cool video chat, but you can have multiple people in there at the same time. So I ran a review session using Google Hangout. I made a chat room, I posted it onto my Edmodo site, and the kids joined it. The only negative is that it was a maximum of about, I think, 20 kids that can get in there, so not everyone could get in at the same time. There is something through Microsoft Outlook called Lync, L-I-N-C, which is supposed to be able to let 100 people into this chat. So our school district is supposed to be rolling out web address or email addresses for all the students in our district. So I'm hoping that by Christmas time I'll be able to try Lync with the kids, so that way I could have a giant room as opposed to 15 people. But they're able to hop in and out and just ask questions. It went really well. They loved it. They loved coming in. It was only supposed to be an hour long, and it was an hour and a half instead. And so I wanted to make sure I answered all their questions. They really enjoyed that. Another thing that I utilize is Remind 101. So because I only have the students for half the day and then they get back on their buses, I can online or elsewhere I use Remind 101 on my phone. The kids all logged in with a code. I know it's a little too bright. And I can send them messages of, hey, the homework is this, or I changed it. Don't worry about this. We'll do this tomorrow in class. Anything else that we send out to them is they get it, and it's really quick and easy. So I really like using Remind 101. So tips. Tips for teachers. The best thing if you're just starting out is baby steps. You don't, if you do your website and that's something new, but add something each unit. So this unit I'm going to try to do one video, and then maybe the next unit you'll try to do two. Or maybe you'll do a video and you'll make an online quiz. So, and the nice part about the blended learning environment is most of that stuff will stay. So then next year, as long as you're teaching the same class, you can reuse these things or make new videos and make it even better. And as you get used to the technology, it becomes easier and easier and easier. Also, make time. One of the things I really had to do with going through this class is make sure that I was making time to answer the kids' questions, or if they had a response that I had them post an answer to, I was giving them timely feedback. So the nice part about having it online is that they get that feedback. I did not mention this though with Edmodo, is that there's quizzes, and I really like them. So if I go back to post, I can go to a quiz, and my quizzes will stay from year to year, and I can edit them. So here's the quiz. You can randomize the questions. You can show the results to the kids. You have short answer, essay, matching, multiple choice. And then they have a little grade book that they'll see their grades in. It's very easy if I go through and want to change the grade too. All I have to do is click, I change, and it automatically saves it. So it's really nice. The kids are able to see their grades right away. We can go through the quizzes and that sort of thing. So making sure that timely feedback is huge. And keep staying updated. The technology becomes easier and easier as more teachers are becoming blended. There is something called iPad as the teacher's pet. That is a great, it's just like a little pictogram which has all of these different apps that you can use for, seating charts and lessons and recording and posting. So anything you can think of that you might need as a teacher, there's a little app, or the most highly rated apps by other teachers put onto this nice little poster called The iPad as the Teacher's Pet. For students, my tips for you: be an active participant. Don't just sit on the wayside. Ask questions. On Edmodo, they can post to me or they can post to the entire group. So if you're not comfortable with the entire group, post to me. Make sure that if you have something that you need to respond to, you do it. So you need to be on top of it and make sure you stay organized, and again, being active. That's, you don't want to be passive because you don't want to get lost in the crowd. Ask questions. You get stuck on something, ask questions, email, shoot a message, come before school. There's something you just don't get. Sometimes the technology doesn't work. So for my school, we open over an hour before classes actually start, which the kids can come in and utilize the computers and printers and internet at school. So if something was to happen, hopefully mom or dad could drop them off. The feedback that I've gotten has been very positive. Um, the kids like the website. They like that they can ask questions when they're absent. They can go on Edmodo and print off their homework. They can post what their homework is. Somebody tells them. Most of the time I have it already uploaded. They can print it off and turn it in and not feel like they missed all that much. The other nice thing about having a flipped classroom is that they don't miss the lecture. So and then when kids are trying to review, they rewatch the lectures as many times as they need, pausing, writing things down. I post practice problems on the homework, so hopefully they can redo that. They really like that whole rewatching feature. They like the immediate feedback. So I've had lots of positive things. I'm always trying to learn more, and I will keep working.